Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to day 80 of 90. Can you believe we are on day 80? Like, blowing my mind that we are this far. We're doing good. I'm excited. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Kelly Couch. I'm an independent promoter with the company Prove It. And today we're going to talk about a simple sharing tip. So we've talked through in different social media things, tips on how to share in your stories, tips on our posts, how we can be more open and more vulnerable. And I think this training, when I heard it, was really good because it's a simple reminder, A, to be real in what we're doing, and two, to share, if we want to grow on social media and we want to connect with people that way, this is a really good practical way to start to just open up about what's happening, but tips on actual technique on how to do it. So for gratitude, I just want to tell you guys how thankful I am for you. Day 80, and you guys are all on here. And before the recording, my son walked in. And so I tried to end the recording and restart the recording, and I kicked everyone off. And you guys are just so patient every day and on here smiling, and I love you for that. And so for day 80, I am thankful for you guys for showing up every day and pouring that energy into me. And so please, I want you guys to know, I know running it can be hard. Day 80, 80 days is a lot to provide content for, but I know showing up on your end can also be hard daily and when you don't feel like it. And I appreciate you guys big time for showing up. So, if you're on here day 80 and you have questions and you want to reset goals daily, weekly, all the time, know that I am available to you guys that are showing up here. I'm available to everyone, but I want to dig in with you guys who have shown up for the last 80 days and say that, let's start to work on some of this stuff. It doesn't have to be all 80. If you're like, okay, I'm going to pick these 5 days and those call to actions, and that's what I'm going to work on for the next 60 days. That's okay. Wherever you're at, let's reach up. Christy and I got to talk this weekend about what our goals were for 2020. And so that's where that sort of fireside stemmed from. So we're both making those posters. And I love that because it's personal to both of us. And we can say, okay, that's something that every time we said it, when we were talking what is coming in 2020, we were able to whoa, that is an instant excitement that comes. And okay, that's what we need to feel. So when we lay down at night and we see that poster, we're like, maybe instead of scrolling through Facebook for 5 minutes, I should reach out to a couple people or something like that. So I'd love to talk to you guys personally and start to set some of those things for you guys. Obviously hacking better is going to get us all fired up. But if we can get our goals set and some of one-on-one, okay, how can I help you be accountable? How can you keep yourself accountable? How can you help us? That way we can be working one-on-one with each other leading into that. So don't ever feel bad for reaching out. That's what that was going, because I'm proud of you for being here 80 days strong. The second thing, I want to recognize the rebooters. Before I got on here, I was sharing that rebooting is not always easy for me. I always feel amazing when I'm done, but going through it is not always easy. And some things that happen in life are sometimes exacerbated when I am in a reboot. And yesterday we talked about controlling your emotions and how to do that. And I can recognize that I have to do that more when I am rebooting. So I want to recognize you guys. That's awesome. And I also want to tell you guys, through this 80 days, we've talked about some things that may feel scary. And I recognize that. But I want you guys to lean in when those things feel scary because, who knows, next 90-day run, next fireside, it could be you that I'm reaching out to hey, do you mind running this for us? I've noticed you've been showing up for 80 days and I want to start doing that. And that might instill instant panic, right? I understand that. But those things have gotten my growth over the last 4 years to a cool spot because I know I'm not where I want to be, but I know I'm way better than I was 4 years ago, right? The first call I ever did, I think it was a personality training, but there were I would think I was maybe a rank 6 at the time, and there were way higher ranks, people who'd been in this industry way longer than I had. And, that self-doubt kicks in. You're like, am I qualified to do this? Why should they be learning from me? And then I was like, no, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Mel Robbins, I was made for this, right? We talked through how to do that and shift it. But it's cool because even the last Rhino Run, where Nick and I got to be a part of that, and that was in Brian's bigger team, that was terrifying. I would still get sweaty and scared to get on there and teach, but I know that doing those scary things helps growth, right? And so now I feel like running this, I was like, man, like it's all on us to show up and be here for 90 days. Like when you are part of someone else's 90 days, if you don't show up some days, that's okay, right? Or if you're whatever, but when you're leading it and running it, so I'm proud of us all for like kicking it in and doing those simple things, but you showing up is you growing. That's what that means. Like you show up every day, you grow more, and then you get to be proud of yourself. You get to reap the rewards of that. So is running this scary? Yes. But you know, I think we can all say, check my resume, right? Like we not even improve it. Like we've all been through things. We are all victorious in life because we've been through things and we're here on this side of it, right? And so personally, like I can look back on my resume, my life, and say, I'm victorious. I've overcome things through Jesus and through pushing through, and I can do this, and so can you. So that's your morning Tuesday pep talk to myself too, right? Okay, so simple sharing tip, breadcrumbing your stories. Here's what I'm going to say. If I, like, who else is rebooting with me? Right? Okay. Christy Jones, I know you are because we have checked in a number of times. So if I get up in the middle of this and run somewhere, you know where I'm going, right? I'm kidding. I'm kind of kidding. There are two reasons I told you that. One, because it's true, but two, because creating connection through shared experience, right? When we're talking about breadcrumbing, we're talking about sharing experiences that you've been through that you can share and other people connect to that, right? So you all knew exactly what I meant when I just said that, right? Like you're like, oh dang, I can't believe she just said that on a video. But you all knew exactly what I meant because we've connected through this reboot before, right? We all are doing it together. We have that shared experience, right? So you can take your life before you join Prove It, and you can create those connections based on what you've gone through and based on your experiences. And we're all human. We all have these experiences. And I think sometimes, you know, A, we look at people's social media and it looks so perfect. B, if they are being vulnerable and sharing, we're like, holy cow, their wording is amazing, or their whatever is amazing. But you connect to them, right? Or even people like, I will tell you some of the stories that I connect to the most are people that are on there and just laying it all out. And I am hysterical because I've been through that. And it might be like a live video that is a hot mess with kids running everywhere. And maybe their point got way pushed to the side, but like it made me laugh. And that's value in my life, right? So I think understanding that sharing that in your stories can really, really be an attraction tool, you guys. Like you're going through stuff like I was talking about before I hit record here, that yesterday we were talking about controlling our emotions, and Nick missed his flight home from Alaska yesterday. So what does that mean for me? 24 more hours here, right? And you know, like when you're getting to the end of something and like this reboot and you're like, okay, I have so many hours left, I can push through. So I've been doing it all for 6 days, right? So I'm like pushing through. Today was the day we were supposed to get him at 11:30. And now we got 24 more hours, right? So what I do, I popped in a movie for the kids. I got to get refocused, right? So all of these things, we all have these experiences. And should I put that in my stories? Yeah, sure. Should I put the wording maybe I used with him yesterday? Probably not. But I can share that experience and people can connect to that, right? And then I'm going to talk through this, but could I put like before ketones, before training, before mindset? I would have been a different person on that phone yesterday, right? But I can drink my keto and feel better. So, Pam, I know you're laughing because you probably knew my reaction. It was better than it was a year ago. Hey, I'll take that credit. So attract people that you have things in common with already, and then build that connection. And how do you find those people, right? We've talked about this, by putting out you. Like people knew when I was potty training AJ, people knew when I was doing different things, and they would reach out. And that's funny because they're in it, right? Whatever that you're going through, people out there are going through that, right? So, but it takes being a little bit vulnerable, and it's hard when you see perfection on social media. I think a lot of times we see people, happy kids, awesome lives. That's not real, you guys. Like I am guilty of that. And I have noticed that I'll be mid-typing a post, and instead of the vulnerable post I meant it to be, it starts to get like, oh, the kids are great together, and they are, but it's not my 24-hour oversight of what my life looks like. Is not the kids getting along all the time. It's not me being the perfect mom. It's not me never yelling. You know, those are the things we need to be bringing out. So I think it's brave to be vulnerable and to share what you've overcome, right? And I've noticed a lot of you guys on here. Like I want to give Pam a shout out. She posted I had a call to action to get your story out there, and she did it, right? And so I challenged her further. Today I sent her an email or a message that was like, hey, can we push this a step further? Like, I'm so proud of you for putting that out there, and that's awesome. So let's dig in there. In that one story she posted, there's about 10 things that she could dig into. Like, how has this changed her? What emotions did she overcome? How is she a better person? All those things, right? And so I think that's amazing. Missy Sipes been putting stuff out there. Stacy, Christy, Deb, I see you guys like doing it, and it's awesome. Like, I want to see more of it and break those things down. So we've talked about standing out, and I think it's easier. Sometimes we think we have to be perfect to stand out, but I think it's easier to stand out when you're more real, and breadcrumbing in your stories is an awesome place to do that. And so I think for myself, I've come a long way on social media, but I still need to check myself sometimes, like I said, on those perfect posts, or a lot of times, like, good picture, yes, good wording, yes, but we want that content to be real and personal. Like, instead of, like, a lot of times I'll notice myself shifting into a third person, like I'm talking, instead of like, this is what I went through today. This is what I went through in life. This is what I experienced, and this can help other people. So let's talk about breadcrumbing. What's that mean? I think we'll talk about it today with our business, like with our product and with the opportunity. But I think you can do this with anything that's going on in your life. So first, I want you guys to write down, and I'm going to do this too, write down 5 reasons that you drink keto every single day. Like, even if all you have left is, what's your least favorite flavor? Like, even if all you have is Maui Punch, caffeine-free Maui Punch, and that's not your favorite, but you still drink it every single day. Why? Okay. And then second, I want you to, like, for example, for those, like, because you are a blessed patient mom when you don't have your ketones, because your husband is a 2-time traumatic brain injury survivor, and you know the power of the brain benefits. So whether it tastes like Maui Punch or raspberry lemonade or whatever your your least favorite is, you're going to put it in your brain every day because these are your 5 reasons. Because why, right? Because bus drop-off goes way better when you drink ketones, like whatever your thing is. Second, I want you to be honest about your life before you had ketones. Like, and this is where you can kind of get real, okay? Like last week, for those of you that know me, you know that noises bother me. Like, I think they've diagnosed it, not with me, but like misophonia or whatever, where clicking and chewing and biting and tapping, like, they send me into instant rage, right? With ketones, I'm a less enraged person when that happens, and I have to catch myself because the kids will be doing something that wouldn't annoy the normal person, but for me it's that clicking, and I'm like, I'm gonna need you to stop that, right? But we talked through it, right? But I think and so last week that was happening more than normal, and what I stopped and realized was that I was playing around with, like, drinking different fat coffee in the morning and then maybe having my keto later, because I just love to have ketones all through the day. So I can't have 10 a day. So I have to figure out, like, when I want to have them. And so I was testing around with that. But then I realized it was because I hadn't had my ketones in the morning, right? And, like, right on the side of the box, what's there? Better mood, right? And so that's a breadcrumb for a product. Like, I wasn't proud of how I snapped at my kids because they were making a tapping noise in the back of the car. But we can all share those because everyone can connect to that. So I can go in my stories and be like, you guys, whoa, I snapped this morning. My poor kid was tapping on the window and I lost my, right? But it was real. I realized that it's because I hadn't had my ketones that morning, right? And so that's a good thing you can throw there in your stories. When your patience is down, if I can drink a lemonade that makes me a more patient person with my kids and Nick, then I wouldn't care how much that costs them. And I think a lot of people are the same way. If you're flipping out at your kids and your husband all the time, that doesn't feel good. If you can drink a drink that tastes like, lime, and that makes you a better person, right? Lead with your struggle. I won't post a link or anything in there. I won't post like, buy it here, but people are going to start to relate to all of that. Okay. And they're going to start to reach out to you. So let's move to the opportunity. I want you to write down 5 things that you love most about being a promoter, whether that's getting messages from people that feel so much better, right? We're not talking here about the no's you're getting in between or the people that don't believe in ketones yet. We're talking about the reasons you love being a promoter. For me, it's getting stories from you guys of how you help someone. It can be because you get to talk to grown-ups every day. That's okay if that's one of your things, right? Like me, before ketones and before this business, I would watch like Paw Patrol marathons on TV and talk to little people all day while Nick was away. And I couldn't wait till he got home till after dinner because because he was one adult that I got to talk to and just pour out to. Now I get to tune in here every day and see all of you and talk to adults all the time, right? That can be a thing. Or is it, I saw Christy put something in here and then it went right out of my brain. Positive environment, right? That's exactly right. You get to, that's huge. That's huge, Christy, right? You and I have talked about that. When there's so much negativity in your work, there's so much negativity in your life in general, tuning into a positive environment daily is huge. Paying for the dentist in cash instead of putting it on a credit card, like any reason that you can have to be a promoter, write that down. And then I want you to take this back to your life before that and kind of reverse engineer it. And then breadcrumbing is just sort of dripping, like you're putting these in your story. I would say tell them regularly, like twice a week, let's say. We can all do that, right? Like one product. I would say do it more often, but to start, let's do one product and one opportunity each week, right? And if you can start dripping those in among with all the other things you're doing, people are like, oh man, this girl is me. But what are they also seeing? This girl is me, but she's got something else going on that's helping her, right? Before these whatever ketones or whatever she's talking about, she was me. I snapped at my kids. I have to put my dentist on a credit card. I'm negative all the time. I talk to my kids all the time and nobody else, right? They're going to start to want that, right? And when you're breadcrumbing, people are going to be like, oh, dang, maybe this is something I need to check into, right? And they're going to reach out. So next, I'm going to move quickly into live videos. Right. And because that's a question we get a lot. How are you comfortable on live videos? And I think that can all come back to breadcrumbing. And I wouldn't have said that because I've been known to have long live videos, but we're going to keep them to 2 minutes because I think that's doable. But here's some tips for going live. That's scary a little bit. People hate to go live. But if I think the first one, pretend you're talking to one person, the ideal person. Okay. When you log in to do a live and you see someone's name pops up and that person immediately causes self-doubt, that's not the person that I want you to pretend you're talking to when you're going live. Okay. There are the ideal people that love your jokes, that get you. Like half of you on here probably think I'm nuts, and the other half of you probably think I'm really funny and you love me and we can hang out all the time. That second half is the people you're talking to when you're doing a live. So cover up like the comments, cover up the number of people on, and imagine that you're talking to that person who, like, when you leave them, you're like, dang, that was really cool. Like, we really jive. Okay. The second thing, gather your thoughts before you get on a live video. Get your idea together before you push live. Like, I always joke that Nick used to go live and he'd be like, you ready? And then he'd hit it and you're like, and then you find yourself like, well, what are we doing on this live? Because this feels really awkward. Like, that's probably not your most ideal live video, right? So get your ideas together and just before you hit live, just kind of to bring value. Think of the value you kind of want to bring so you're not just walking around. Number 3, look directly into the camera. You'll have a better connection. And number 4, I think try for 2 minutes or less. I think this frees you a little bit. Sometimes I think, even for myself, one of the paralyzing things is, what do I even talk about for 5 minutes? What do I even talk about for 10 minutes so that I can bring all these people in? But people, think of your children's attention span. It's not just children. That's your secret. It's adults that have that same attention span, okay? So when you're watching a live video, think like you probably watch it for a little while. If they haven't made you laugh in the first couple minutes, are you going to watch the rest? Unless it's those darn makeup ones that draw you in and you're like, how are they even like getting their eyebrows to look like that, right? But I think most of them, 2 minutes, it frees you, right? You can do something for 2 minutes and say, okay, I brought value, and then let it go. And if you don't like it, if it stinks, just delete it. I don't know if you guys knew you can do that. When you're hitting live, there's only really a couple people watching unless you're like famous, right? And so you can delete it at the end and only those couple people probably saw it and they're going to forget about it and it's not even on your page. And if it's not terrible, then just roll with it. Keep it short and sweet. That's how people get to know you, right? Like I used to try to keep my kids out and shut the doors and, I'd be like threatening them within an inch of their life when I'm doing a live video. Like, hop on for 2 minutes. If your kids come in, it's fine. If your camera falls over forward, like it's fine. It's all fine. You're going to get better, right? So lives let people see you. And like I said, if something funny happens, It's okay. And remember yesterday, pick your emotion, right? When you're doing these breadcrumbs, when you're doing these live videos, I choose to feel excitement rather than fear. I choose to feel courage rather than self-doubt, right? Because you are going to show up different anywhere, in person or on social media, when you change that emotion. Does it feel like fear? Yes. Could it show up as excitement? Of course, right? You can be sweaty and nervous, and that's excitement. Or you can be sweaty and nervous and fear, but which one feels better? For sure, excitement, right? Which one feels better, to show up as courageous or to show up so scared of who you even are that you don't even want to talk on a video, right? Courage feels good because when you're done, you're like, dang, I did it. She told me to do a live video, even if it was messy, and I did it, okay? So choose those emotions. So what do? I want to talk just for a minute about what you do after you breadcrumb, because I think sometimes we can give all these great tips and then someone gets back to you, or you notice that someone starts to watch all your stories, because you know you can see it in your stories, who's following you, which is a good tip. You can click in, it'll say the eyeball, and that's who's watching your stuff all the time. So what do? You put out there and they're watching and reaching out. Now what? I want you to remember that a lot of times we forget people have to come to decisions on their own. And that's why exposures are so good. That's why this breadcrumbing is so good, because they're going to be watching you, but they have to come to this decision on their own. So if you see people are watching you on a live video, or they're liking a lot of your stuff, even if it's not ketones, or they're watching your stories when you start to put all this crazy stuff out there, what you can do is go to their page and turn on notifications and start to engage, or keep a list. That list, we went way back when we were doing 212 lives, and that you list where people are liking all the stuff you're doing and they're engaging in the things that you're putting out there. Make a list, or go to their page and turn on notifications and engage with them, right? Because remember, if we connect with people on something other than ketones, that's a way for them to feel safe and say, hey, what is this thing you keep talking about? And I even do that in messages sometimes. If I think I'm ready to engage with them about ketones, I'll make it about something else we've been talking about, and then also about ketones. That way it's a safe place for them to respond to that, or both, right? But if we are connecting with them on this other stuff, then they're like, okay, I feel safe with her because XYZ. We've talked about all this other stuff. I might reach out and say, you know, what are these ketones? And she's not going to like jump down my throat. Right? Okay. So call to action. I want you guys to have your 5 reasons that you personally drink keto daily. I want you to tie it to your life before keto, and have your 5 reasons that you love being a promoter. And then I want you to get in there in your stories and start talking about those moments as they happen. And like, don't put too much thought into it. It's your stories. It'll go away in 24 hours. Some of mine are awesome. Some of mine are not awesome. Just go in there and do it, and then you'll start to get quicker and better at it. So that's it for today, day 80. I can't even believe it. Next week, we're all going to be in Kentucky, and I'm so excited to see you guys and hug on you and love you. And so tomorrow will be Wednesday. I've already let that topic slip out of my head, but it's going to be a good one about connecting, and I will see you guys then.